Good afternoon, Whole 30ers. We have 4 days left. Somebody just asked in the group today if we are starting on Sunday or Monday, and the official start for us is on Sunday. I know that some people may prefer to start on Monday because of New Year's on Sunday, and I know that the Whole 30, like the big, huge group of people that are doing Whole 30 online, like Instagram and Facebook, the January Whole 30 for them is starting on the 2nd. So it's okay if you want to start on the 2nd, but just know that you don't get to cut off on the 30th when the rest of us do if you start a day later. So we are officially starting on Sunday in this group though. And this is the time a lot of people are starting to meal plan because we're coming up on a big weekend. And of course we all want to go to the store and grocery shop New Year's weekend, right? Yeah. No. Also, I know the side of my face is really bright. I actually had to open a cabinet to make my face not completely blown out. So, anyway, get over it. All right, so I wanted to talk about meal planning. So meal planning is something that I've always gone in spurts in. Years ago, I had a blog, and I was really consistent about blogging. I did a lot of meal planning. I posted all my meals. And then, I don't know, I had like 4 more kids. And so for some people, that would actually drive them to more meal planning. For me, that actually drives me away from it because it's just not at the top of my radar. So typically what we do in a regular month is we just have a lot of produce. I buy produce that I know we will eat, and we buy our meat in bulk from a local farmer. And so we always have meat in our freezer, and we buy eggs from a friend. And so really we eat close-ish to a Whole 30 anyway. I'm mostly on a paleo style diet, so if you're familiar with that, it's very similar to a Whole 30, but it's not quite as strict. So like if I'm gonna have sugar, I'll have honey or maple syrup or coconut sugar or something like that. It doesn't work the exact same way as the white sugar in your body. But none of that is allowed on the Whole 30 because what we're doing is we're trying to retrain our brain specifically in regards to carbs and sugar, because those things are addictive and our body gravitates to them, and the more we eat, the more we want. So I wanted to do a little refresher on what we are and are not eating on the Whole 30. So what we are eating is nutrient-dense whole foods. So this is seafood, meats, eggs, nuts, good fats like avocado, olive oil, and lots of produce. Preferably vegetables. You can overdo it on the fruits, and that can be a stumbling block. A lot of people do the whole foods, but they eat a lot of fruit and they don't see as many results because they're still eating a lot of that sugar to satisfy their sweet cravings. So we're trying to break through those cravings. So I actually did, I did several days. I don't remember how long I did it, but several days on the Whole 30, I didn't do any fruit. I didn't want any sugar outside of, the tiny bit that's in vegetables. I didn't want any sugar because I knew that was a craving and a habit that I needed to break. So that's what we are eating, nutrient-dense food. What we are not eating is any kind of added sugar. So all of these in the background, this is coconut sugar, maple syrup, there's honey back here. Those are my typical go-to sweeteners if I'm cooking something that requires sugar. And we're not eating any of those. I have peanut butter out because it has sugar in it. Of course, you can buy nut butters without sugar, but you will not be eating any peanuts on the Whole 30 because peanuts are actually in the category of legumes. So we won't be eating any of those either. If you keep this kind of stuff in your pantry or in your cabinets in your kitchen, I encourage you to put it away. I actually put it all up in a high cabinet. It went into a basket, anything that we could not eat, because we did it as a family. So when we did it in October, we all did it together, and so we didn't need to have it out at all for anyone. Let me turn off my Facebook noises. So anyway, so we actually put it all up in the cabinet so I wouldn't accidentally, like if I was making spaghetti sauce, I wouldn't accidentally throw in a tablespoon of coconut sugar like I usually do. I just put it all away so I wouldn't use it at all. And then I didn't see it either, so it wasn't a temptation, but really I was concerned about accidentally using it. So, all right, so no sugar, no legumes, no grains. So this includes rice, it includes corn. These are grains, of course, wheat, things like that. If you want to use a thickening agent, You can't use rice flour, you can't use cornstarch, you can't use regular flour, you can use tapioca. And we did gravy with tapioca on the Whole30 for some of our meals last time. We typically use tapioca and rice because we don't do a lot of gluten in our family anyway, because half of us can't eat it. But you can purchase tapioca if you feel like you're going to want something that is that's going to thicken, like if you want to do a gravy or something like that. Okay, no dairy. Dairy. Actually, I was surprised how much I saved not buying yogurt and cheese and butter and milk. So no dairy at all. No alcohol. No, well, I touched on this, no desserts, snacky stuff. We're trying to break habits and develop a healthy hormone balance within our body. And so the Whole30 actually suggests that you don't do snacking because it is best for your body, for your hormones, to have those meals evenly spaced. So of course this is controversial. Do your own research on that. I tend to agree with that, but do your own research on that. But that's what's recommended for the Whole30. And the biggest thing, the only thing that's not food related, I would say, is that there is no weighing yourself. So before you start the Whole30, get on the scale, do some measurements, measure around your body, take your weight, and then put your scale away, because there's no weighing yourself. This is not about weight loss. This is about changing your habits and developing a healthy mindset towards food. It's not about your weight. So put your scale away. If you're weighing yourself, you're not doing it right. All right, so that's what we are eating and what we're not eating. So in regards to meal planning, I just want to give you a rundown of kind of how we did this when we did it in October with our family. So our whole family was doing it, and basically I don't cook multiple meals, so our whole family is going to be essentially doing most of this together again in January, even though the kids are not going to be strictly doing it all the time, except my son, who's chosen to do it with us. But basically for breakfast, most mornings we did some type of eggs. There's like a million ways to make eggs. We did some type of eggs. We did usually veggies, like we would do an omelet and throw in like peppers and onions, something like that. Oftentimes we did meat. So for us, that was typically pork. We buy ground pork, just plain ground pork. Don't buy the sausage. It's probably going to have sugar in it. So just pork, and I would put seasonings in it myself. So we did that a lot of mornings. We would throw that into an omelet or put it on the side of the eggs or whatever. And then veggies. I really tried personally not to have fruit in the morning, because even just that little bit of sugar that's in the fruit can drive your body to want more sugar throughout the day. So I chose to have my fruit later in the day if I had some, because that just works better for me. My kids did usually have some fruit with their breakfast, but I really tried to stay more toward the protein and veggies for breakfast. So we did a lot of that, and then we did a lot of breakfast potatoes. So what we found worked well for our family, because there's 8 of us, was for us to do a large batch of baked potatoes once or twice a week. And then when we would get up in the morning, it was a lot easier to fry the potatoes for breakfast because they were already cooked. So it took less time. So we did breakfast potatoes. So we'd cube them, or we'd slice them, or we just eat them like potatoes. It's so funny, in America we have this mindset that we can only eat certain foods at certain times of day. That's not how it is anywhere else. So oftentimes we did potatoes, but of course potatoes are going to have a little bit of sugar and that starch in them too. So just be aware of that. If you feel like sugar is something that you struggle with a lot, you may want to not start your morning with any kind of sugar. Just do your vegetables and your proteins. Okay, so that was what we usually did for breakfast. Now, if you have, I know there's at least one person doing this that can't have eggs, you're probably going to be heavier on the meats and the veggies, just out of necessity. So for lunches, oftentimes we did a lot of raw foods. We would do like a fruit and veggie platter, or my kids I actually don't like nuts, but they would do almonds or cashews or walnuts a little bit. You don't want to overdo it on the nuts. That's really easy to do, especially because people grab them and think of them as a snack, but use them in moderation and use them for protein. So I would typically just have another piece of meat for lunch. So chicken or leftover pork or whatever is what I would have for lunch, and then more vegetables. So somebody asked me today about meal planning, and I said, really, it was very simple for me. I didn't do a lot of official planning. I would get kind of a grasp on what we probably might need, but honestly, we did a lot of grocery shopping and we ordered a lot from Prime Now, so it would come to the house. But anyway, so I mean, it was basically like protein and 2 veggies, protein and 2 veggies, protein. That was like what we ate. So don't overthink it too much. You're just eating protein and veggies. Like that's what we're supposed to be eating. So for lunch, yeah, we basically just have the same. So protein and a couple of veggies. So sweet potatoes are really easy to make up in advance. They do take a while in the oven, but I know you can make them in the Instant Pot. I know people who've made them in the crock pot. We tend to make ours in the oven because our kids like the outside. I don't eat the outside. Do you guys eat the outside? Anyway, they eat the outside and they like it to be crispy. So we tend to do them in the oven. But you can do them in a batch and then they reheat faster later, so you don't have to cook another hour and a half of sweet potato later. So sweet potatoes are big for us. And like I said, we did a lot of white potatoes also for breakfast. And then we enjoyed experimenting with our vegetables because we were filling a lot of extra space with vegetable. And so we bought some stuff that we'd never tried before. Like we bought a cubanelle pepper. I'm probably butchering the way you say it. We bought some other kinds of squash that we don't usually buy. It was just fun. We just tried out some things that we hadn't tried in the past. So since you're not doing sugar, you may find that you want to do extra seasonings. So I would encourage you to check your stock on your seasonings. We use a lot of thyme, basil, oregano, garlic, onion, salt and pepper. There's probably something I'm missing. But I would check those before you go out this weekend. Whenever you go out to grocery shop, check your seasonings and make sure you have a good stock of those because you're going to want that to help flavor your food because we're not doing any sugar. So you may actually be surprised by the end how sweet sugar tastes when you start to incorporate it again in February or later. Some people choose to wait. But anyway, so that was for lunch. And then for dinner, we typically did either a baked potato or a baked sweet potato with another veggie and meat. And I mean, like, I feel like I'm on repeat, but that was basically what we did. It was protein and veggies, protein and veggies. And so I did offer my kids snacks sometimes in the middle of the day. I chose not to snack unless I actually, like, my stomach was growling. I might have a little bit if it was too far from dinner that I felt like I could wait. And if I had a snack, I would typically have, like, just some leftover meat in the fridge, like some cooked whatever was in the fridge, pork or chicken, or I allow myself a little bit of dried cranberries. So most dried cranberries or dried fruits are going to have sugar in them. The kind that we buy doesn't have added sugar, so that's okay, but you would want to check and see what you are buying if you're thinking about doing dried fruits. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so I have some stuff that we bought a lot of as a family that you might want to consider looking at if you need meals that are a little bit faster or already partially prepared. I don't know why I have this stuff out except that I'm going to put it away soon. Okay, so here's the first one. I do not know how to say the name, and it's backwards, but it's Aidells, Adels, I don't know. Anyway, there's a bunch of these. We get them at Meijer. I've seen them other places, but there's a bunch of varieties, but this is the only one I know of that actually is compliant on the Whole30s, the chicken and apple. So all the other ones that I've seen have some kind of sugar in them. And basically, almost all the pork that you find is going to have sugar in it unless you're buying just straight pork. But like most hams have sugar added. Bacon almost always has sugar added. I know there's one type of bacon at Kroger that is sugar-free. We chose not to have bacon at all in October because we don't buy bacon with nitrates, and that particular bacon has nitrates, but it doesn't have sugar, and nitrates are not listed on the Whole30 compliance list. So if you do want to buy bacon, you can look at Kroger for the sugar-free bacon. Other than that, we just skipped bacon altogether, and it was fine. We actually didn't die. But so there's this, and then for hot dogs, okay, I fed the kids these for lunch, and I like literally pulled this out of the trash can to do the video under the pineapple. Okay, don't judge me. These are actually the hot dogs that we eat anyway. They're my favorite. But Applegate Farms, natural uncured beef. Now their other hot dogs, I think they have a turkey, and they have a something else. The other ones actually have sugar in them, so this is the kind. Okay, and then since you're not doing dairy, if you are needing something milk-ish, there's a ton of varieties out there. You're not going to be doing any soy on the Whole30 because soy is a grain. So we do almond milk, which is what I drink anyway. This is the kind that we buy. It's from Meyer. It's the unsweetened original. The unsweetened from Kroger is also okay. I think it's whatever their brand is, Simply something. It's green and white. That one is okay on the Whole30. The reason that I like the Meyer one is because I feel like it's a little bit smoother. I don't get as much grit in the bottom. And I put this in my coffee. There's a lot of other almond milks. As long as you're getting an unsweetened one, you're probably okay on sugar, but a lot of almond milks have carrageenan in them, which I think is not compliant on the Whole30. We choose not to consume it anyway because it has potential health risks. But just know that. So if you have a Meyer, this is my favorite one. If you have a Kroger, I think theirs is okay. I think theirs is okay as well. So let's talk about coffee real quick though. If you are a coffee drinker and you currently fill your coffee with garbage, just know that I have totally been there and you will not die without the garbage in your coffee. If you are a black coffee drinker, smooth sailing for you because you can drink all the black coffee you want. Actually, I think they recommend that you don't drink more than 1 or 2 cups, but it's a recommendation and I drink a pot, so it's fine. But anyway, so I put almond milk in my coffee. If you are going from some kind of sweetened coffee flavored junk to something else, just know it's never going to taste the same. It's just not. So either you don't like coffee and you might as well just skip it, or you like coffee and you're just not going to die. So, so that's what we use. And then we used a lot of olive oil. I know there's some kind of controversy about olive oil and what's actually olive oil and what's not. If somebody has like a concise link and you want to send it to me, great, because I don't have time to do the research on it right now. And then coconut oil. This is in a jar because this is coconut oil from Guyana, fresh from Guyana, that my husband brought home this last summer. But other than that, what we typically use is missing from my kitchen. But normally we buy Nutiva coconut oil, and it's lovely. It's my next favorite. So we did lots of that. But anyway, other than that, I feel like, you know, if you want to do a specific meal plan and you want to like plan it out, make sure you don't waste anything, and you know, you go to the store once a week, well, good luck. If you go to the store once a week, you may have trouble because produce does not last that long if you're eating that much of it. But if you want to do that, great. If you just kind of want to keep that stock of food in your house and kind of go by the day, that's great too. But whatever works for you. So for me, meal planning stresses me out. I don't typically do it because it's stressful. So if it's stressful, I'm apt to not do it because I don't want to do it. So whatever is going to be easiest for you that's not going to stress you out, do it that way. There's not one right way or one wrong way. I know that for a lot of people, planning it out is the best way for them. It's the least stressful. That's not the case for me at all, which is why I don't do it. So just do whatever works for you. And I think that's all. I keep getting notifications, so I'm like all distracted. I think that's all I had for you. So if I think of anything else, I'll pop back in here. But if you've not purchased a book yet, get your book now. You can do the Whole30 without the book. I personally don't think you could do it as well because the book explains a lot about the importance of specific things. It goes into detail about some other things that you don't always think about, like supplements. There are a lot of things in supplements that are not compliant. So just read your labels and do your best. So, all right, well, that is all. It's Wednesday afternoon. My kids are starting to all over the place. I have like 4 kids napping right now. So go me. All right. Well, if you guys have questions, leave them below. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get back to this. I really am. Like, we really loved October and the way that we felt. So we're really excited for January. All right. Well, I'll see you guys later.